Hi, it's Alaska Granny. I wanted to share with you today some easy tips on how to get started prepping. Whether you've been prepping for a long time, maybe you've started but you're not sure what to do next, or you haven't begun at all, these are some easy tips and a checklist that you can go through and see how you're doing, figure out what to do next. A great place to start prepping is with food storage. It's important to have a good supply of easy to open, simple to prepare foods in your pantry. If you can make meals for several days, a few weeks, even a month, having that food on hand is a wonderful way to ensure your family's security. It doesn't have to be some apocalypse for you to need to go to your pantry and be able to prepare a meal. What if someone in your family is sick and you can't go out to the store? What if there's a winter storm and the roads are closed? Or it's just too dangerous to go out and drive around? There's always the possibility that you could lose your job or get cut back at work and have fewer hours. Having a full pantry with foods that are easy to open, easy to prepare, and have several years shelf life, things that you know how to cook and that your family will eat. Plan on how you're going to use the items that you choose. What can you have for breakfast? What will you serve for lunch? What can you make for dinner? And what about some snacks? Store foods that you would normally eat and then rotate them and add more. You don't have to buy a month's worth of extra food all at once. Many of us can't afford that. But when you go to the store every time, choose an additional item or two of foods that you use. Everybody can figure out how to get an extra can of soup, another can of chili, another box of cereal, something that you know your family will eat. Think of your food as a working pantry, foods that you normally eat, and you've planned into your meals how you're going to use them, and have extras of those things on hand. Along with food, we need a supply of fresh drinking water. We can't always rely that our water will be running or that the water flowing from the taps hasn't been contaminated in some way. You can buy extra bottles of water at the store. You can refill a variety of empty food containers, wash and rinse them very well, and then you can refill them with clean drinking water. If the water coming out of your tap is already safe for you to drink, you don't need to do anything extra to the water that you're going to store. Just put on the lid and store it in a cool, dark place. Never store water in old milk jugs. It's nearly impossible to remove all of the milk residue, and they're simply not a sturdy container, and trust me, you will have leaking problems, you'll have disasters if you try to reuse milk containers, and you won't have the water that you would need to in any kind of an emergency. Water takes up a lot of room and it's very heavy. Before you buy a large water storage container, that you know where you're going to put it, how you're going to fill it up, and that you'll be able to move it or relocate it if you need to. Another great tip is to have a water purification filter. If you run out of the stored water that you have, then you'll be able to filter and purify any other water, whether it's flowing into your house or whether you get it from a secondary source, so that you can continue to have safe drinking water. Some of the water that you'll store will be used for things like hygiene, dishwashing, so fill a few extra containers of water and stick them under your sink in your kitchen and your bathroom so that you have extra water available where you're likely to need it. Stash some cash. There are all kinds of emergencies where a few extra dollars can go a long way to smoothing out an emergency type situation. Try to have small bills, collect them a little at a time, save them up. If you think times are hard now, what would you do if times were worse? So having the extra cash on hand gives you an emergency fund, whether you need to fill up the gas of your car, you need to give your kids a few dollars for something they need for school, or you are in a real emergency situation and say the power's out and ATMs don't work. You'll have cash to continue to provide the things that you really need. Keep your gas tank in your car as full as possible. Never let it go below a half a tank when you don't fill it up somewhere. You could find yourself in the middle of the night when someone is sick and you need to go to the hospital, and if it's any kind of a distance and you haven't filled up the tank of your car, you could have a real emergency on your hand. There are also times when there are fuel shortages and then their gas is just not available. Trucks maybe can't get through, or there are oil embargoes. There's all kinds of reasons you might find that gas is not available when you go to the gas station. Remember the 6 P's to be ready in case of immediate evacuation. Forest fires in California, hurricanes in the southern states, flooding in the Midwest, earthquake here in Alaska. What are some things you need if you had to leave your home immediately? How can you prepare and have those things? What if you had 5 minutes notice that you needed to evacuate? Do you know where your wallet is, your keys, your cell phone and charger? Do you have your medications, any medical devices you need? What about glasses, your laptops? And you need an emergency folder with all of your important information, your shoes, a jacket, and any special items you would need for your children and your pets. What if you had 15 minutes? Do you have all of those items? Do you have a radio, flashlights and batteries, a first aid kit, camping equipment, food, water, clothing, a blanket? What about a portable toilet? All of these items should be in your bug out bag, and you should have those prepared, sitting ready to go at your door. What kind of important papers should be included in your bug out bag? Look over this list. You need everything from your identification, your bank statements, driver's license, all of your important insurance documents and things that are important to you. Have a copy of all of those documents together in a folder with your bug out bag. Look over this list of important items to have for your family, for your safety, and items for your car. No one wants to evacuate and find out all they have are the pajamas they're wearing and they don't even have a pair of shoes. You can avoid those situations by preparing ahead of time. Everyone needs a basic first aid kit. Here's a list of all of the important items that you can have in your first aid kit. You can buy a ready-made first aid kit and then add to it any items that you think you would like in addition to that. Here's a home safety checklist. Go over these items. You need smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers, have fire drills, and a plan to get out of your house. Just like you need a plan where you would go if you had to leave your home, you also need a plan of how to safely get out of your home. Declutter your home a few minutes each day. Look at one drawer in your kitchen, one bedside table. Get rid of the things that you aren't using. Clear it up so that you can organize the things that you do want and you do need. Then organize the things you have in a way that makes sense. Put together candles, batteries, flashlights. Put together fire starting equipment. Get some lighters, matches, dryer lint, cotton balls, Vaseline. You probably have a lot of that stuff around your home, but it may be scattered and disorganized. And if you clear out a little bit, sort your things out, just do it a little at a time, a few minutes every single day, and before you know it, you'll realize you already have a lot of prepping gear. It was just scattered around and you didn't realize it. And if we don't know where things are, they're not useful to us at all. Think of ways to use what you already have. Figure out how they're useful to you, how you could use them in an everyday environment, how you could use them in an emergency. And the more you think about the things you have, you would come up with creative ways to use those things. And every extra way that you figure out how to use something means that it's one less thing you need to buy because you already know how to make it out of what you have. There are a lot of ways that prepping is just interesting, it's fun, it's creative. It helps you have peace of mind that you have what you need, and also gives you the confidence that you can make the best of each day. You can figure out what to do next using the things that you have. Not sure prepping is for you? Try looking at the news tonight and see if there's anything that sparks a little bit of reasoning in your mind of why maybe you want to become a prepper too. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.